Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Myself, Vaibhav. I welcome all of you to today's session of Visual JForex, in which we will be continuing our work using the indicator Woodie keyword. This is the third and the final part of this series involving these indicators used to define and design the algorithmic system to trade in a profitable manner. So we now head to the Visual JForex board, which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA. We have seen last two sessions where I had explained to you how we can put in place the needed conditions for the execution of the trade using this indicator setup. If we look at this, we have the instrument subscription in place where the default instrument is Euro USD, which is being in turn matched with the instrument of choice. And after that, there is a Woodie pivot block of the daily candle period was added. To look at the price action data, we are also taking the help of this get historical candle. First one is 4 hourly, and these two are of hourly each. And to pinpoint the exact entry point, 10-second blocks will also be used. This order validity of 1 hour was defined, as we are going with a pending open order, which will remain valid if not executed for maximum of 1 hour. Here we have the conditions in place for the execution of the buy trade. Now this session is dedicated for the sell side of the equation, so we have to define the condition for the execution of the sell trade, and for that I will give you a brief refresher of what the logic is for any sell trade to take place. We need the momentum to be bearish, and for that we are taking the help of these central point of the Woodie pivot series for determining whether the underlying instrument is trading bearish or bullish way. And for that we are taking this price action data. So we need the last 4 hourly candle close to be less than the opening price. So that will mean that in the 4 hours prior to the execution of the trade, we had the momentum on the bearish side. So first thing we will do is check for this 4 hourly candle closing level, and it should be less than the opening price. Then we turn to the immediate price action data, where we need the last 2 hourly setup, last 2 hourly candles to have closed in particular manner. We will be utilizing the central pivot point, and the last hourly candle close needs to be greater than that. But prior to that, in the prior hour, the closing value of the hourly candle needs to have been less than the central pivot point. And why we are looking at the last hourly candle close to be above the central point is simply because we want to place the order after some correction, and only because of that we are putting in place this condition. But prior to that, the underlying instrument should have shown bearish tendencies, and to make sure that is the case, the hourly candle close will need to have been below the central point, and the closing value of that penultimate hourly candle needs to be below the opening price as well. So that will mean in the hours leading up to the execution of the order, we had the momentum on the bearish side. Okay, and when we see that in last hour the correction is happening, and now it has gone on to close above the central point, we will place the order for the sell stop at the exact central point. So this will be our entry point, and for that we will be placing a order pending open order, which will be valid for 1 hour. So this is how the condition is. Quite simple, isn't it? So we now head back to the Visual JForex board, where we will start defining the conditions using the logical as well as trading blocks. We are going to first need the logical components, and as we need to make sure that our formation is symmetric, the number of if blocks in this formation will need to be equal to the number of if blocks we had used for the buy side design, and these are 7 if blocks. So the same number of if blocks will be now put in place, and after that we take in the trade command block. Okay, pending open. So we look at the price action data, and as I said, the last hourly candle close value will need to be compared with the central point, and also the penultimate hours closing value will also need to be compared with the central point. So central point P10 will be our common input in both of these blocks, and then we compare it to the candle 15 candle close and candle 16 candle close. Candle 15 candle close will need to have been greater. Auto created variables, candle 15 candle close, first input greater than second input, and candle 16 which has a look back period of 2. Yeah. So that means it is the prior historical hourly candle prior to this candle 15, and its closing value will need to have been less than the central point P10. First input less than second input. And we also have to add the condition that the candle 16 candle close was less than the candle 16 candle open. First input less than second input. We compare the 4 hourly candle closing levels also. For that we take into consideration the candle 14, and candle 14 candle close will need to be less than its opening price. Again we add this condition, so in this case first input less than second input. All right, and we also compare candle 15 candle close as we had done for the buy side, and this time around we are going to need the candle 15 candle close to have been greater than its opening price, so that will be indicative of some correction leading up to the placement of the order. So we have candle 15 candle close, first input greater than second input. And now we go on to define final conditions for the placement of order. So as soon as price starts to rise above the last hourly candle close, the order will be placed on the lower side, So we compare the closing values of candle 17 and candle 18 with the closing value of candle 15. Candle 15 candle close, and candle 17 and candle 18 candle close will need to be taken into consideration. So we have candle 17 candle close and candle 18 candle close. Candle 17 is the last 10-second block, and we need its closing value to have been greater than the candle 15 candle close. And after that we bring in the trade command block pending open. It will be a sell stop order. Okay, first input less than second input. Now let me arrange these if else blocks on the lower side, which will take not much time, only a few seconds, but it will make it quite simpler to understand, make things uncluttered. Okay, now coming to the individual parameters, we have to define the price of the entry, and that is the central point P10. After that comes in the default instrument, which is Euro USD. Trade amount I will change to 0.1 million. Slippage this is good enough. Stop loss and take profit. We are working with the combination of risk reward of 1:2, and since we are dealing with the hourly time frame, I think a combination of 15 to 30 is good enough. Order validity, we had defined it last time around, which is 1 hour, so we use it as it is. And with this, our formation of the sell side is complete, and it is looking quite symmetric. Okay, so here we have defined the conditions necessary for the execution of the sell trade, and as we see, it is looking symmetric. And let me check if the trade iteration flow is going through till the very end, and it is. So with this, the job of the defining of the conditions for the execution of the trade using these Woodie pivot series is complete, and I hope you have been able to understand the logical as well as the execution part of this algorithmic system. And if you have any query or any idea to share, you can write to me in the feedback section, and I would be more than happy to take the discussion forward. For further coverage on the market developments, do check out the Dukascopy Analytics page, for which the link has been provided. The Dukascopy Bank is also available on the Facebook. You can join us there. And for trading as well as for carrying out the testing on the historical data, you will need to take the services of the JForex platform. So to check it out. Thank you all for joining in. See you next time around. Till then, goodbye.